Hi guys, before we start today's live show, I want to come to you with the proverbial begging bowl. No, don't worry. I'm not going to ask you to pay for my season ticket. Now, this show is only a few months old. It's not 5 years old. It's not even 10 years old. But together we have achieved so much and created a fantastic platform for us town fans to share our opinion and have our say. I'm not here to tell you how to think. I'm here to give you a platform to tell us what you think, and more importantly, the club what you think. However, a large portion of our watchers aren't yet subscribers. So I'm here to ask you if you would kindly do us the favour of hitting the subscribe button. It's free, it's easy, but it allows us to continue to grow and make fantastic content for you guys. Something we're really passionate about, and something I hope that you guys are also passionate about getting involved with and watching. Now to today's live show. Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome back to Talking Town's Matchday Ticket Live. The name is in limbo at the moment because a few of you have gotten a bit confused, but never mind. We put the keyboard out of the way so the dog can't sit on it and turn us all off. We are here because obviously Town are back playing again. Second pre-season friendly against Tottenham Hotspur. First taste of Premier League opposition. They put a strong lineup out. I will say that. But obviously we're here to cover Town primarily. Of course, as the introduction there said, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, then please do so. We would thank you a million. If you're on Twitter or Facebook, just hit the like button or retweet button. Nick Muller can't stay long, but he'll be here tomorrow. Fantastic. Of course, that is a very good segue there, Nick. I'm not sure if someone's paid you or not, but obviously tomorrow, 1:30, we have our Talking Town podcast live right here on the channel where we mop up the whole week's action, if you like. So without further ado, it's 2:33. Let's bring in our first contributor of today. It is, of course, the man who's always here, the man, the myth, the legend, the media mogul, Mr. Matthew Phillips. How are we doing?
I'm all good, thanks. I am excited about this game.
Are you?
I feel like we're back in the big time just for 90 minutes as we go to this new Spurs ground, newish Spurs ground.
Well, yeah. It's not too bad. There you go. My camera's out of focus. I've been to the new Spurs ground. It is incredibly nice. I hear James Norwood is maybe in attendance in the stadium, which is fantastic news.
He's not on holiday?
Well, I don't know. There's conflicting rumours all circulating across Twitter. But one of the rumours I've heard is that he is there. I've not seen any actual proof of that, but I hear that he is there. Okay. Before we bring our second contributor, Joe, in, who's currently waiting in the blue room, obviously, following Tuesday night's overall 5-0 result, 4-0 and 1-0. Yeah. 4 or 5 days later, what are your thoughts upon that game? What have you taken out of it?
Well, I was I was taken by the first performance, the 4-0 win, which was a slightly younger team, wasn't it? I keep thinking back to Idris's goal, that sort of turn and that shot, fantastic. We didn't really see that kind of cavalier, more maverick spirit in the second game, did we? I think maybe it just comes with youth. Maybe it just comes with the younger players that they'll take more of a chance to shoot from distance or all that kind of thing. That said, of course, real great piece of invention for the goal. Judge and Jackson combining for that goal from the corner, which was good to see. So yeah, our good friend Rich went back, didn't he, and put all his merch on. to celebrate.
He certainly did. Yeah, oh my
this
days,
man.
he did.
So
He really did.
He was taken by the result. So yeah, I think that's kind of set up nicely today. Today might be a little bit more of a feet on the ground moment for us because, like you said there, Mark, it's like a strong Spurs team. But I think Town fans can feel optimistic after Tuesday. Yeah, happy days with that result, I think.
Yeah, and obviously it's pre-season, so it's all about getting minutes into legs.
Yeah.
Building confidence is a good one, and obviously El Mazzani with his fantastic strike on Tuesday night would take a lot of confidence from that. But it's about getting players like Vincent Young, Edwards, Enciala, players who maybe struggled throughout the year last year for injuries or confidence or a bit of both. It's about getting minutes back into their body, getting them confidence. You know, and obviously Paul Lambert had this to say after the Colchester United game.
I thought some of the football was excellent from the both teams. I thought we played really good football. I thought we dominated games, which is great. We got a few goals into that. 5 months is a really, really long time to not play football, and all credit to the guys. It's to go and do what they've done. I thought was exceptional.
Paul Lambert speaking there, courtesy of ITFC's Twitter account. Thanks, Dan Palfrey, for lending us that video. Joe, we were excellent Tuesday night, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Certainly the first game. As the days have gone by, I found, to read into it less and less. It's more immediate in the aftermath where you can look at the game and dissect it a bit, but then you realise, well, I mean, there must have been 30 or 40 different players on the pitch and across a few games and stuff like that. So it was a bit mix and match. But for Town's perspective, it's nice to see a lot of options perhaps going forward this year, where in a league, in League One, you've got a bit more freedom to play youngsters. And it certainly seems that with the likes of, say, Dobra, I know not necessarily too much involved the other night, but those kind of players and Drynan and seeing them play well, I think, because you want them to be putting pressure on the first team players or any players that you indeed do or not sign between now and October. That list is forever window.
And Tuesday night had a very international sort of feel, didn't it? With the amount of players coming on and off. McGavin came on for 2 games, for example. It had that sort of, and maybe that's what impacted the second half. I don't know. Obviously, different 11, but it had that sort of more relaxed, different players, as you've said, coming in and out. Now, Drynan, you mentioned in your piece there, obviously he played fantastically well Tuesday night. He starts again today against Tottenham. Big chance for the young lad, right?
Oh, huge as well. And the more that, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with Norwood, no need to, get rumours starting or be silly or anything like that. But, if he's at the stadium today, okay, he may be a week or two behind people, but you want him on the bench at least if he wasn't carrying a knock of some description. So yeah, another opportunity for him. I'm sure Lambert and Ipswich will be looking at other striking options anyway, because it's a long, as you know, 40 any of these divisions, it's a long 46 games of football to be played. But yeah, he's been out on loan a few times now, hasn't he? This lad, this running, and
certainly has, yes.
If he gets a chance today, he early on to give his confidence, or at least if he can make Loris work and then think, well, actually, I belong here, But it'll be key the first 10, 15 minutes of this game and how Tottenham set, because it does look all scary, all the big international names. But we've seen a lot with this Spurs side without Harry Kane, regardless of when they're playing with a false 9, they can sometimes lack penetration. And if Ipswich set up really well today and frustrate them for the first 20 minutes or so, it could play into Town's hands a lot more.
Yeah, and we'll get on to this afternoon's game very shortly. But just a final thought from Tuesday night coming into this game. Who did you really come away with impressed with, and you want to see a lot more of today to see if it was a one-off or if they can actually, is it a growth in the player?
Well, we've mentioned Drynan. I don't want to keep going on about him, but I mean, if he hasn't played much first team football for you and he's had a few loans, you think, well, surely now's the time he's going to show something if he ever is going to, regardless of age or not. I think he isn't actually in the teens, is he? He's actually 22, 23, I think 22, if I'm right in saying. But yeah, El Mazzuni, I think any game that, we can sit here and say it was a game that lacked lots or a game that, didn't have a lot going on, but to score a goal of that caliber and that quality, I'd love to see a little bit from him today. Some tricky play. Can he utilise a little bit of pace across the first 10 yards and get at some Tottenham's defenders? I don't think Juan Foyth, even though he's a youngster, and I don't think he's particularly pacey. So there's lots of options there for Town to get excited about, but it'd be good to see if it comes to fruition against some better players, because at times, and as much as I hate to say it, it was Colchester's defending was abject to say the least, and there wasn't a lot of closing down. You had Tommy Smith, who was obviously on trial from there, and he looked well off the pace. And don't want to bash him, but he hasn't played football in 5-6 months, of course. So it would be if they can, those sort of players, El Mazzuni, Drinan, if they can actually kick on now. See if Dobra comes on. Those are the people I'll be looking at. But also as well, I would want to see a good 90 minutes or some good play from Judge today as well. I'd want the players that we know at Town, the good names, we want to see them playing, because even though they're in their 30s, 20s, we can't always look to youth. You've got to look at the players that are going to get you out the league and the ones that are experienced as well.
Listen, if you don't enjoy that and you don't enjoy going playing against that level, then you've got a problem. Yeah. The stadium alone, I think the lads will be taken aback by it. But if you want to get the highest level in football, you have to aspire to play that, and you have to be, first and foremost, you have to be good enough to play it. So let's see if we realise what it takes to get to the top level.
And Paul Lambert's absolutely right there, really. This is a fantastic occasion for the players, Matt. Big stadium. Obviously, if you look at the team coming out today, in our private WhatsApp, across Twitter, across Facebook, there's been various different formations already spoken to about the Ipswich Town lineup. I don't want to get too caught up on formations I know it sounds crazy. I'm 2 or 3 weeks away from Bristol Rovers in the Cup, but this early in pre-season, it's about minutes. And let's face it, if Alan Judge, as Joe mentions there at 30 plus years of age, can't find his way in any formation, he wouldn't have made it to this far in his football career, right?
Judge is a quality player. We've said this before, haven't we? It's international quality, of course. Still an Ireland international. For Judge, I think maybe it took him a long time to get over that the broken leg that he suffered, and maybe he's gone down a notch or two there. I think if he was still at the top of his game, he'd still be with Brentford. He wouldn't be with us in League One. So it speaks
potentially not. No, but looking at today's lineup, Matt, I've gone for the 4-2-3-1. Very quickly knocked together when the team news came out. Amongst other things, I was spinning. Obviously, Drinan starts up front. Big chance for him against what is Premier League defenders. We're not playing nobodies. No disrespect to younger players within the Premier League squads. Yeah. Big chance for Nsiala at the back there.
You're talking to the Nsiala fan club here. That worries me a little bit. I mean, they've still got Dele, Lucas, and Son in an attacking formation, haven't they, Spurs? So it'd be very interesting to see how Nsiala does against that international quality. But I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Vincent Young again. Now I am his fan club, and to see him on such a big stage as this at the new Tottenham Stadium, let's just hope he can grab that opportunity and embrace it. Shame there's no crowd there, but I feel like this could be a game where he really could shine.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to seeing Vincent Young play, but Judge in particular for me, because if he does play behind Drinan with 2 pacey wingers either side. Now, Dobra can also play inside. Yeah. But if we get Judge in behind the striker there, as I think he probably will line up, that's going to be maybe his best role this year moving forward, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've sort of debated back and forth with Rich, haven't we? Where is Judge's best position? But I do feel like that number 10, just sitting in the middle, just behind the striker there, is going to be his best role, and just stick those little balls through. I mean, it's fantastic for Drinan, isn't it, to be playing on such a huge stage. I mean,
huge.
He's not been in the Town equation at all, has he? He got farmed off to Ayr United. Don't think he did too badly there, but he's not been a name that any of us have really spoken about. So it just goes to show that he put in a good performance at Col U in the week, and now he's been rewarded with this opportunity. So fantastic for him. I do feel like maybe he's there as a sort of a filler option with Norwood not being there. But this is how people get chances that come along.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, and as we can see, as you've mentioned, he starts up the front. He grabbed his chance on Tuesday night, which no disrespect to yourself there, Joe. I'll bring you back in. Less opposition than today. Another fantastic chance for Aaron Drinan to make his claim for the first team, or at least be around the first team moving into October and November, right? Oh, we can't hear. There we go. Sorry, we can hear you now. Sorry, far away.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Again, it's one of these things that perhaps he might not have envisaged this kind of opportunity even a few months ago. He might, not have thought that I'll be back in the reckoning. A lot was going on at Ipswich Town behind the scenes. And of course, COVID affected every single club and we didn't know what the situation was. I know after a while it was confirmed, but even after Lambert had signed the contract, there was still a bit of confusion about that. So he was probably, to get this opportunity now, he popped up with a couple of goals. There is limited striking options at the moment. I'll just take the pressures off him, really. What more can he do? He's not going to be looked at or frowned against today if he doesn't score against an international back four with plenty of international caps and experience. People aren't going to turn around and go, well, he didn't rip up trees at Tottenham, but they're a Premier League, Champions League outfit. Of course he's not going to, but if he gets a chance and takes it today, he may just turn a few heads within the club. And looking at next season, all of a sudden, Norwood's got to come back in training. He might need to, not just saying this as a debut, he might need to lose a bit of weight. He may need to get up to speed with the rest of the players. And if he has, this perceived, I'm the number 10 at the club and I'm going to be the main man, Drilling could come and upset the party. I like what I saw again, but it is a massive step up today. And it will be really important how close Judge gets to him, how close Gwion Edwards gets to him, how close Dobra gets to him, because that pitch is a big pitch. And I know we say that most pitches are the same. It's a huge pitch. And if he's isolated up top with 4 defenders around them, and I must admit, it will be a long afternoon and a thankless task chasing a lot of no balls, basically. So it needs to be on deck and it needs to be in and around him for it to stand a chance.
Yeah, you're right. And we need to get it's the right ball into him as well. He might. I'm not saying he's a small lad, but he's by no means a Akin Fenwer. He's in no means a big target man. Even Daryl Murphy type. It's got to be into his feet for me. So then you can play off him with some intelligent play with Edwards, Judge, and Dobra. All 4. From what I've seen, can play with their feet. So the back 4 and Skuse and Bish, they need to be getting the balls into them, but on the deck, into them, and then we can zip it from there. That's what I really want to see from that midfield 4 or 5, if you like. Back to Alan Judge though, Joe. As I bring his stats back up onto the screen, that surprises you, right? Seeing a player of his quality, 3 goals, 4 assists, 30 appearances last season.
Yes and no. If you look at his quality and just say his quality alone, I'd look at it and go, yeah, that's probably not a good enough return. If you look at it on the other hand and look at the fact that he's had a rough few years, and I know we're not here to put an arm around every single player, but he's a quality player. He's had some horrific injuries, and he comes to town when, let's face it, things weren't settled. He didn't walk into a nice environment. Probably he didn't walk into. I know there was a lot of words being thrown around, but sooner or later, there was the Championship season and there was the League One season. And although that started nicely, which I think he may have even been at that first half of the season, he probably was showing his best form. I don't think many players at Town covered themselves in glory the back end of last season, including the manager and stuff. And to then highlight his stats and say, we didn't produce enough. Well, I don't think he had enough going on around him. And it was a reflection on the entire team, not just Alan Judge. So, yeah, not a good return in terms of the quality and what he can be. But also giving it a bit of context where Ipswich Town season was at and what was going on at the club also reflects in that return for me. But yes, at 31 now, I just want to pick up on the point that you were talking earlier. He needs to be number 10 for me. At 31, you don't want him getting up and down the wings. You've got some options there. Have him as number 10 and let him sit in and dictate that play in and around there, because he'll be one of the best number 10s in League One, certainly.
I can see you nodding there, Matt. You agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good point that Joe's made there. Interestingly, the Cruncher has just messaged us saying, Judge doesn't make my lineup on the 12th of September.
He certainly doesn't. Look at that. And he's beaming smile as well. What is all that about?
He'll score 2 goals today now, you watch.
Does he make your lineup?
He'd make my lineup. Yeah, definitely. He definitely would make my lineup. I've always been a fan of his. Anyway, I think I said even back in his Notts County days when he was termed the Irish Messi, I always thought he was someone that could wear an Ipswich shirt one day. So I'm delighted we've got him. Yeah, he might be a notch or 2 below, where he was a few seasons back, but he's still international quality. And we, if you can have international quality players in the League One team, then take him.
It's I will say this: it's another game without Caden Jackson starting. Yeah. I'm starting to get Martin Waghorn vibes. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I don't think there's any smoke without fire on this one. He's played in the Championship before, and from a personal point of view, he probably wants to go back there. He scored goals in the Championship as well, didn't he, for us? So, I think we've got to accept that Norwood or Jackson's going to go, and I think it's probably going to be Jackson. Yeah.
Great return last year, Joe. As you look at that, 32 appearances, 11 goals, 229 minutes per goal. you can't ask much more than that in the first season back into League One, can you?
Well, no, and again, considering as well that he probably didn't spend a lot of those 32 appearances up front as well. I'd imagine a lot of those were playing off the left or playing off the right, or even coming into the game as a substitute because Norwood was starting the majority of the games. So for that level of return, 1 in 3, and you consider that definitely I would probably say a good percentage of those weren't starts. That is a really good return for Caden Jackson. But again, taking that point and thinking that is a really good return looking at last season, I'd be very happy giving him another go. He isn't starting today, and did he? I think he may start the second game against Colchester.
He came on, yeah.
So, maybe there's something going on there. And again, we like to read into things as football fans. He could just be carrying a slight knock. He could, he might be a bit more off the pace. And it is a case of Drillen coming back in and showing a little bit more ahead of the other strikers in the squad at this moment in time. But again, looking at that, I wasn't actually aware of how many he scored last season. So that's a really good effort from Jackson, actually.
Absolutely. I published a quick poll over on Facebook. We're live on Facebook. Do you like the team lineup? 89% have said yes. 11% have said no. If I had to ask both of yourselves, are you a fan of this lineup, Matt?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm not Tiana's biggest fan, but let's give him an opportunity to see how he gets on. Everyone always gets an opportunity. What I think is very interesting in what Ipswich tweeted out with the lineup is that Ward is the captain rather than Skews, because we've always been used to the dynamic of Chambers being skipper, and if he weren't around, the vice captain was always Skews. They kind of like left and right hand those two, aren't they? So it's interesting that Ward has got the captain's armband today. Maybe Scusi said take it, but it goes back to that point we said, why has Ward come here in the first place? He's another leadership voice. He's another international quality player, 50 caps. And that's kind of priceless at League One level. So that's probably the reason why he's here.
Do you agree with the poll on Facebook there, Joe?
Well, sorry, what was the result? They agreed.
89% said good lineup. 11% said not a good lineup.
Yeah, I don't think it could have been a lot safer, for the normal names as you'd expect to be in there, and Lambert maybe trying to protect a bit of pride and just hope for a 1-0. It's nice that he's experimented, and it's good. No, it's true. It's good that they're throwing a few names out there and actually thinking, well, you know what? They probably looked a little bit better in the Colchester game. Let's give them a go. The only if I'm going to split hairs, would like to see El Mazzuni after yesterday possibly start, or Lancaster possibly, but I don't know whereabouts they are in fitness. So and I think as well playing. Drop in, say if you were still going to play Drynan and play Lancaster, playing him ahead of Gwion Edwards, that would leave you a bit more exposed down the right hand side, where Kane Vincent Young obviously likes to fly forward as well. So it might have been actually a good call, and that's why I'm not a football manager. So, but yeah, I probably would have liked to have seen one of those two start if I'm being picky. But no, a good lineup.
Dobra starts today. Should Paul Lambert, should the football club trust him a little bit more or play him a little bit more than we have done in previous years, Matt? Or has the player got to start showing more to win the shirt?
Well, I was really impressed with him in the leasing.com, which is where we saw most of his performances. I mean, even against that Spurs under 23, under 21s, whatever it was at Portman Road, he played really well in that game up top with was it Jordan Roberts, I think. I was really impressed with him. Again, though, people like, Luke's in the chat today. Hi, Luke. He's said on the pod before, he feels like his best position is probably number 10. So we've probably got an abundance of number 10s because I think El Mazzuni likes to play there as well. I just wonder whether or not Dobra might go to the right side, and Edwards obviously scored against Colu from the left, didn't he? And we've been told that's his stronger side, and he actually, for the first time ever, started over there. So maybe we'll see those two maybe swap over. But I'm looking forward to seeing Dobra. It's again like Kane Vincent Young, great stage to perform on. Let's hope he takes his opportunity. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. A new man, Cornell, starts in goal. Joe, are you excited to see a new goalkeeper as a football fan and see? And when you are watching the game as a football fan on the new goalkeeper, what is it you want to see from him, especially today?
Well, do you know what? It's actually kind of funny. This is how these behind closed doors games may play into advantage. I want to hear a voice. That's what I don't want to. We've all been there. We've all been sat behind the goal, in the Sir Bobby stand or wherever you may be sat. And a goalkeeper that's intimidated just by the atmosphere. Now, you may have to go to hundreds of games to notice it, but you can see the body language. I want a goalkeeper that's running his mouth. I want a goalkeeper that's shouting. I want a goalkeeper that's a presence and commanding and looks comfortable to be there, And the thing with Cornell, how many training sessions has he had? How long's he come in? Is he going to be comfortable barking at the back four straight away? Is he going to be comfortable, laying down his authority? But, I like to see from a keeper just a commanding presence and come and take that first cross early on and set the tone for the rest of your performance. And today, I think for Cornell, what he needs to remember is a case of, it's a pre-season game today, no frills. You're going to be tested. There's going to be a lot of work for him. So it's actually a really good place to display his skills. Doesn't matter if you let in 3 or 4 today. If you make a good effort and you make some good saves, that's perfectly fine. The 3 or 4 that you may not stop, it could be worldies. So don't be too disheartened from that. Today, you should have a lot of action and a good chance to show how good you are at shot stopping and a good chance to show your skills to Paul Lambert going into the new season ahead of Holy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt, obviously, with Dele, Lucas, Son, all playing for Tottenham, all starting for Tottenham. Big chance for the goalkeeper to show what he's a little bit about, right?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get the most glowing recommendations from our friends over on the Northampton Town pod, did he? When we spoke to Neil.
No,
but but he starts here with a clean slate. I mean, he did contribute to their promotion, so that's got to be remembered. That's a positive. And we have to trust the process. We have to trust the coaches behind the scenes that are working with Lambert. They've scouted him. They didn't just turn up one Saturday and think, oh, let's sign him up. They would have scouted him over a number of weeks and months. So they obviously see some potential there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. And just like, like Joe said there, is he a shot stopper? What foot is he kicking with? That kind of thing. So we can get used to it before the real stuff starts.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at the Tottenham lineup. Lloris, Fife, Alderweireld. I've said that wrong. Davis, Sessegnon, Winks. Gedson, Dele, Lucas, Son. It's a real good chance for the Town lineup to practice some good shape work, right? Yeah. Because you expect the Tottenham team to have a lot of the ball and work it and keep working it and try and find the opening. They do play some lovely stuff at Tottenham. So this is a good time for the young players, but particularly the players that are starting, Joe, that you would expect to start on September the 12th. To get some good shape work in, right? Because shape work is something the Town fans on Twitter particularly seem to absolutely love talking about.
Well, yeah, this is it. In League One, you want to be set up to be beating teams and taking points off of every single team. You can't have a bad weekend. As you found out last season, one result can lead to a chain of them in the middle of the season that can sometimes throw it completely off. Shape will be everything today. This game will all be about possession from Tottenham. They'll be out there. Jose Mourinho, he's a possession. Obviously people say he likes to counter on the break with his teams. I disagree. I think a lot of the teams he's been at, he likes to hold the ball. He likes to build a fortress. And with that team today, with no striker, it'll be all about possession. So from a Town point of view, it's an ideal opportunity when you're playing some of the big teams away and you need to drop for 10 or 15 minutes and hold a result. How many times have we seen, I don't know, if Town, gone ahead and quickly fell behind again, or in that similar vein, set up for 10 or 15 minutes. I'm sorry fans want to see football played attacking all the way through the game, but there is no harm in sitting for 10 and consolidating what you've got and building out from there. And this will be a perfect opportunity in containment and what that will be about. And Lambert should have them really well drilled, because you're not going to get any harder test than this, really. Yeah,
and looking at that midfield, Bishop, big chance for Bishop again. It's obviously a make or break year, in my opinion, for Teddy. Injuries have played him so far, but looking at that midfield, friendly or otherwise, got to start looking like the part, right, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some real quality now. I mean, I was chatting to my friend Glenn before we came on air. Glenn Lavery, big Spurs fan, was telling me that Højbjerg, who's in midfield for them, was highly thought of by Guardiola when he was Bayern Munich manager. So that's going back a few years, isn't it?
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to be playing against some absolute quality. Gedson on loan from Benfica. Winks is more of like a sort of Carrick role midfielder. So yeah, let's hope our boys can, enjoy the occasion, enjoy playing against these quality players, and maybe can raise their game at the same time.
Absolutely. And just looking at the chat as we round up our first half an hour pre-game show, we've got the Cruncher. Drizzy, we know we're near the first 11 come start of the season. Norwood, Jackson, Sears and Hawkins ahead of him, but in the shop window. Fair point there, right, Joe? Because obviously another good performance, another loan spell out could be the answer for Drinham.
Yeah, again, if it suits, I think it would be a bit disheartening for him if he has a blinding pre-season and gets sent out on loan, and the other people have come in and not kicked a ball in pre-season. Again, Hawkins should be ahead of him in theory, but I would still like to see him play in a Town shirt. He wasn't, he's not prolific, but what he can bring to the team could be fantastic, and it might not be the goals, but I'd still want to see him play a bit. So if Drinham's had a really good pre-season and then gets, sent out on loan at 22, not 18, 19, it doesn't overly look good, but if there are better options ahead of him, the better options ahead of him, and that's what comes first at the end of the day. So I wouldn't see him on loan.
And our final poll on Facebook was, should Paul Lambert play Dobra more? 100% of the people said yes. So over to you, Armando Dobra, and we will catch you all at halftime. Come back here or Facebook or Twitter at 3:45 for our halftime look at the first half. See you all soon. Take care, guys. See you at
Enjoy it.
halftime.